All right, so the Colorado Avalanche outscore their goalie issues once again in a 7-4 win over the Flyers over the weekend. And in doing so, Logan O'Connor gets his first ever career hat trick in the most wholesome way possible. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. DuckTales, Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Our subtext as well. Link to that is in the show notes below. And when you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, become a special insider. We get your opinions on everything Avs, which we share on this very show. You see, if you're watching on YouTube, yeah, Patrick Waugh back behind the bench. Not with the Avalanche, obviously, but we'll talk about it because he's a big part of the Avalanche history. We'll talk about that later on. But we'll get to this game that happened over the weekend with the Flyers. The Avs wrap up their road trip 3-2 on this road trip, and they end it with a win in Philly, a 7-4 win. And I put up on Twitter or X when this was happening that, you know, the Avalanche are never out of it when they're down because they just have the offensive ability to rattle off goals in a short amount of time. But the opposite is also true because of the goalie issues that they're having with Georgiev. And when you're up, you never fully feel like this thing is in the bag. And while the score says 7-4, it was 5-2, and then it was 5-4 in the third. And I'm not putting it all on Georgiev, but we'll get to the whole game. It got, you were sweating a little bit, and you shouldn't have been, because this game should have been in the bag. Give Philly credit for never stopping. A John Tortorella team is never going to quit. But overall, I mean, when you score 7 goals, not easy to do in the NHL. The Avs again seem to be clicking offensively. We just keep talking about the same thing for a while right now, Kyle, and that the offense is doing well defensively, and goalie continues to be somewhat of a problem.
And when we break down the stats, it's going to look even worse. Yes, 7-4, wonderful. You can talk about the Logan O'Connor hat trick, wonderful. Mikko had 2, Nate had 2. You had so many hat trick watches. That's wonderful. But when you take away those stories, like, it's now a thing. The Georgiev thing, he's in a slump. It's not great. And you're having to outscore the problems. That's wonderful. Defense is shaky. And you want both of those, one of those, to be working a little bit better to help the other. But the Avs are right now just having to outscore their problems. And I know every sexy free agent name that comes up, the Avs are always linked to it. And this is one of those, you just expect this roster to perform just a little bit better. Like, you can't get any better out of your forward group. Like, they're doing their job. Even, I know everybody say, but Ryan Johansson, no, he's doing his job. He's fine.
Well, I don't want to say he's doing his job. I don't think he's doing his job. He is not living up to what they expected of him.
No, that's a valid point. Like, he's not. But again, we talked about this when he was brought in. What are you exactly getting in Ryan Johansson? Are you getting what he used to be, or what he has been in the past, in the recent history? So I don't know you're getting a veteran who understands what it's like to be in the league for a while. That's contrary to a young team last year. So, but if you're wanting offense out of him, it's not happening. When we had the crossover with Locked On Predators, they were kind of saying the same thing, that he kind of just ghosts and coasts, and it's just not the
Yeah.
same Rijo. So you kind of knew what you're getting, but this, you want to
funny.
see a little bit more out of the defense to help a very struggling. We could say it. It's not. We've run out of excuses on Georgiev.
Right.
He's struggling.
And the odd thing is, like, he had that shutout, and you were like, okay, build on that. Like, they're winning, but it's like the offense is really winning it for them. And you have, so it's funny because I have more confidence in Georgiev being able to turn things around than I do Ryan Johansson being able to turn things around.
Well, and that's
it's just kind of where I just, because I don't feel, maybe I know positionally it's different, but I just don't think Ryan Johansson. I think it was a good move. I liked the move at the time, but I just don't feel like like his play style does not fit with the Avalanche. And sometimes it's okay to have guys that don't really fit the mold, and gives you a little bit of a different look. But it's just not there. And I really wonder if he's going to be around by the trade deadline. But Georgiev, I still just feel like, and maybe it's just a goalie position, and we've seen what he can do on this team last year. So maybe I'm just holding on to that he can at some point turn it around and just be better than he is. I don't think he's being god awful, but there are moments, Kyle, again in this game where he'll give up a goal where you're just like, man, like, I really wish we'd had a goalie right now that could just stop a goal like that. And it was the Konechny one that was like, how did that get past you? There was another one that was it was a rifle. There was one from Forrester. Yep, it was from Forrester. So, and that's a solid shot. But at the same time, it's like, if someone on the Avalanche took that, if that was Nathan MacKinnon, it'd been like, that's the Nathan MacKinnon shot, you're not going to stop it. When it happens to you, when it's the roles are reversed and it happens to you, you have the mindset like, wow, that was an impressive shot. But on the same token, I really wish there was, like, our goalie was locked in right now and stopped that shot.
Well,
and that's just where we're at right now with it.
The thing with, like, Rijo, like, yes, you could, if he's not performing, it's not hurting the team. Goalie, it's a different standard.
Right.
And the entire month of January, I've never been in my life where I hate that the Avalanche recorded a shutout, but that's where I'm currently sitting, because it's what everybody's pointing to with Georgiev. Like, but he had that shutout against Vegas. He had that shutout. That's great. So let's take that out of the equation. That shutout's gone. Every other game in the month of January, he has let up more than 3 goals. The entire month.
Yeah.
That's we've played 9 games. 8 of the 9 have been more than 3 goals let in on Georgiev. Those have been this Flyer game. The Avs let the Philadelphia Flyers shoot 40 times on Georgiev, which brought his save percentage to an even 900. Without
That's what
that,
the people want. That's what they want. They want a 900 save percentage. They got it.
If the Avs would have
40
just
shots on goal.
Yeah, if the defense would have just played a little bit better, it would have been an abysmal effort on the stat sheet. I'm telling you, it's one of those, if we could grade on the curve and throw out the best and the worst scores, I would throw out that shutout. And then you're really got some questions around this Alexander Georgiev guy and what he's giving you in net, because this is midway through the season and this offense is having to bail you out every night. And if they're not doing it, and if they're not playing at 110 miles an hour, and you don't have Miko with 2 goals, Nate with 2 goals, and LOC getting a hat trick, it's a different game. And that's not how the Avalanche should be playing. They should not they're outscoring their problems in goal, and there's really nobody to fill in the backup role. So they're really, and the defense isn't helping them either. So you're really stuck.
No, to give up 40 shots on goal, I don't care who it's against. That's not what you want. I thought the fact that they were up 2-0 in the first was a minor miracle. I didn't feel like they had the best first period. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was terrible. But I just, you looked at the first, like, man, like this was kind of an ugly, kind of like sluggish first, and they found ways to get goals. And the Avalanche had been struggling to do that this year. Like, when things are when they have something opens up and they have a chance, they haven't been burying them. They had a couple chances in the first and they took advantage of it. And there you go. You have a 2-0 lead. I thought things got better as the game went on, but you're right. It's like this team like is you got your forwards, defense, and goal, right? And right now the offense, including the defense in that offense, is humming.
Mm-hmm.
They are what is keeping this team where they are. The other ones you still need those to fall in line, and they're not. They still struggle to get the puck out of the zone, a
Yep.
defensive zone. Still struggle to do that. When you have guys like Cale Makar, Devon Taves, and Sam Girard, who is one of the best puck movers on the team, not being able to do that, it's going to fall apart, and you're going to have ugly turnovers. And that's not always on the goalie if the goal is scored it. So things like that, like, and you're 100% right about, like, at this point in the season, we shouldn't be having those game after game after game. You're going to have them at moments here and there throughout the game because that's the sport of hockey. But to be talking about it after every single game, it's like we said it before, like this is the MO of the Avalanche. They're outscoring their problems right now. They don't want to continue that. They're still working on this stuff. It's not just like they throw their hands up and be like, "Yeah, this is the way it's going to be for the year. Let's see how far it takes us." But it's fun to watch as a fan because there's a lot of goal scoring going on. But from a player perspective, they know that they can't allow 40 shots on goal. That's not Avalanche defense at all.
And the thing is, like, if you're a casual hockey fan, you look at the Avalanche and they're dancing around the 3rd and 4th spot in the league. Like, there's some nights that they could be first if they would just get the 2 points. Like, the Avalanche look good from the outside, but this is Locked On Avalanche. Everydayers, we're all Avalanche fans here. We know what's up. We know this team could be so much better. And the potential of
That's a
that
scary
is
thing.
it's extremely
Scary thing.
it's terrifying, but it's also frustrating getting ready to go into the All-Star break, and you're looking back at the month of January that we thought was going to be riddled with hell week, and if they can get it together, and they could, but they're having to overexert themselves in the forward play to compensate for just poor defensive play and very subpar goalie play.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the offensive play because that was good. That was good yet again. So we'll talk about that, all of those hat trick watches, and the one guy that got him and how he got it was a moment, an all-time moment for me, at least for this season. Anyway, so we'll talk about that coming up next. First, we're going to hear from eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. It's what brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, we call that the Nathan MacKinnon trilogy. eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, so I know maybe that segment seemed like doom and gloom, but maybe it's a little bit of frustration and maybe it's just expectation right now.
Yeah.
If you're the Avalanche, is just you got to be more solid on all aspects of the game. The one area where they are flying right now, not to use a pun because they just played the Flyers, is offensively. They put up 7. They got up in this game, and that was nice to see. You got the first goal of the game. You got the second goal of the game. Yeah, things got a little bit tight there, but the offense again pulls away. You put up another 7 spot. Things are looking good offensively, and you had 3 guys on a hat trick watch between Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Logan O'Connor. And man, like how that happened at the end, a empty netter where it's 2-on-0. A puck is going in the net to end this thing and, put the nail in the coffin. And it's Nathan MacKinnon and Logan O'Connor. Nobody's in front of them. And Nathan MacKinnon sees who's next to him. It's Logan O'Connor, who has 0 career hat tricks, just feeds him the puck so he can net his first ever hat trick. We talk a lot about leadership, and with Nathan MacKinnon not being here, or not Nathan, Gabe Landeskog not being here, although he's there in the locker room and stuff like that on the ice, nobody's
He's always
wearing.
watching.
Yeah, he's like the eye of Sauron. He nobody's wearing the C. That is a captain like move, and that just should, like, Nathan MacKinnon doesn't care about stat. He's gonna get the assist on the play. Who cares? But he sees that a workhorse of a player and a guy that has put in so much for this team over the years has an opportunity to do something he might not ever do for the rest of his career. And Nathan MacKinnon lets him have that moment. That was special.
And I see it like we were talking about the bonding experience that you could get on this hell week, this road trip that was. And what better way to put an exclamation point on where this team is sitting right now than that selfless move that Nathan MacKinnon just let LOC get that hat trick. And currently, at time of recording, LOC has 22 points. In the words of Thanos, perfectly balanced. That's 11 goals, 11 assists.
Is that how he's got it? Is it 11-11?
Yes.
Really? That's beautiful.
So, and we have come afar. Like, we just kind of played a little bit sad tune in that first segment about where the Avs are sitting. But look at how far this team has come from Taser having that speech about things in the locker room and guys thinking they know how to play and it's just not there. And then you fast forward to this LOC, the moment of letting him get his first hat trick. LOC is a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. Yep. He started out the season with the shorthanded goals, and to see him get, I mean, he's having a career year. Like,
I think he's got career high in goals already.
Yes,
and we're halfway through the season.
And I think his career high was 10, and he's already sitting on 11.
Yeah.
So he's doing incredible things. And again, on this team, it's so hard to talk about everybody's incredible accomplishments. But LOC, this is one that he's going to forever cherish. And it's going to be one of those all-time moments that, like, 10 years from now, it's going to be on this day, LOC got his hat trick, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, I remember that moment. That was a good turning point of the season on where this team banded together.
Yeah. And listener of the show, Lisa, was there at the game.
That's right.
She said that happened. The empty netter happened right in front of her. So kudos to her for seeing that live and in person. Yeah, like so the goal, the other goal that he had was, that's hockey sense right there. It was one of the double doinkers, as they call them, and he lifts up his skate, which it's one of those things where if you're a Flyer fan, you thought he kicked it. It's not a kick. It's not a kicking motion. Your skate needs to be directed towards the net that you are kicking that puck in. All he did was lift his. You can redirect the puck with your skate. That is not illegal, and that's exactly what he did. So he had the hockey sense to not sweep his skate towards the net and just lift it up. It goes off his skate, and that was a pretty goal. Pretty goal. Oh, hang on.
And for everybody who has a question about the legality of what you could do with your foot, I implore everyone, go to NHL.com and download the 2023-2024 NHL rulebook. It's right there for free. Put it on your computer. Read it before bedtime every night. It's a fantastic read. But no, it's legal everything about that goal was legal. It's just not fun if you're the opposing team. And guess what? Colorado fans have been on the other side of that. So it balances out.
Yeah. You had, let's see, get to some stats here. So Ross Colton, 3 assists on the night for Colton. And those were all in the first 2 periods. So he didn't have anything in the third. But 3 assists for him. You had O'Connor with the 3 goals. He was a +4. Drouin with another assist. Miles Wood, 2 assists on the day. MacKinnon with the 2 goals and 2 assists. Initially, he had 2 goals and 3 assists. They took one away from him. I'm not sure which one it was, but they took one away. So he ends up with 4 points on the day. And he is, as of recording this right now, I don't know if Tampa's playing as we're recording this, but he is a point up on Kucherov for the league leading in points. Kiviranta with an assist. Mikko Rantanen, 2 goals, like we said. On the defensive side, Taves and Makar with an assist each. Josh Manson with 2 assists. And Sam Malinsky adds an assist as well. Those 2 guys continue to play well, especially Josh Manson. I think Josh Manson is putting together quietly a very solid season. Nothing that jumps off the stat page. Just defensively, he's been great. He has been really, really good this year, and I'm really impressed with him, especially with Sam Malinsky as well.
Yeah, Josh Manson started out the season kind of rough and erratic, and cleaned it up, and he has been one of the pillars defensively.
He really has. Yeah, I let's see. So they had 40 shots on goal to your 25. Faceoffs were widely leaning towards Philly, 64.5% to 35.5%. As we're 1 for 2 on the power play, 0 for 3 for Philly. So that was good to see because the penalty kill has been struggling a little bit lately, a little bit dipped there. I think they fell out of the top 10. They've been in the top 10 all year long, really in top 5 all year long, but it's been struggling as of late. So I know Philly isn't Philly doesn't have the best power play unit, but then good. Then you should be shutting them out 0 for 3.
Yeah.
But no, overall, offensively, you liked what you saw, and you're going to when you put up 7 goals. So after the game was over, Jason Poland did get sent down. So they have Monday and Tuesday off, I believe. I don't think they play till Wednesday. So you would think Arturi Lehkonen is on track to come back for Wednesday if they're sending Poland down. Lehkonen made the trip with them. Just for him making the trip on a 5-game road trip, I was thinking like he's going to play maybe towards the end of that. That didn't happen, but it was up in the air that he could possibly play that last game against the Flyers. So if that's like a question mark and Poland gets sent down, you got 2 more days to test him. You would have to think that he's coming back on Wednesday, which obviously is a huge boost for this team.
And then not only would that be a huge boost, but everybody keep an eye on that struggling defense, because that also means Bo Byram. He is not far away.
No, he shouldn't be either. Yeah. So, and that's going to be interesting, man, because what has Sam Malinsky done to be sent down?
Exactly.
Nothing. So I really want to see what happens with that. All right. One last thing to get to today, and that is, 2 more things. Patrick Waugh, he's back behind the bench. We'll talk about that. Oh, Kyle is rubbing his forehead over there. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll do our sound check as well. We'll get to all that next. First, we're going to hear from FanDuel. The NFL regular season is in the books, and we are in the playoffs, but you can still get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers get a $150 bonus bet in their account guaranteed when you place a $5 bet, and you get that $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. What did I tell you, sir? I'm not going to say the fix is in, but the fix is in. Kansas City, they're going to the Super Bowl. NFL wants that Taylor Swift money, and it's going to happen. You're going to see calls that you would not believe in Baltimore next week. So I don't bet a ton, but if I might, it's going on Kansas City. NFL is going to make this happen. Trust me.
We needed more wide right shirts, and boy, we're getting them.
Norwood shirts, or I guarantee you Norwood shirts are going to be flying up the charts. The app is super easy to use, and there's many different ways to bet, like the live same game parlay. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can make parlay bets in the Parlay Hub. It's the best way to find popular parlays and so much more within the app. So visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bets like Kansas City going to the Super Bowl. You can count on it with FanDuel. All-timer Colorado Avalanche Patrick Waugh was obviously their coach for a few years and left unceremoniously and struggled to get back into the league. And he now is, and he's coaching the New York Islanders. This was kind of like a really one of those things where it's like obviously stuff was going on behind the scenes if you fire a guy and then in that same announcement name the new coach that isn't an assistant or anything like that. It's guy has nothing to do with the team, and it's Patrick Waugh who comes in, is now taking over the Islanders. Excuse me. Shocker all around, but I want to throw this to you first because I'm curious to know what you think of Patrick Waugh getting another shot.
Okay, I'll just be straight up honest with you. I was with my children getting them dinner at a fast food establishment, and the notification came across my phone. And I looked at my phone and did a quadruple take. And it's been reported like the New York Islanders fire head coach and announced Patrick Waugh's replacement all in one sentence. It's all been one sentence. Like,
yeah, it was crazy.
There hasn't been like Patrick Waugh is talking about possibly, or there hasn't been a rumor, and it's just, oh yeah, by the way, this is Patrick Waugh. Everybody remember him? And I was like, well, that's crazy. That's funny. And I wondered how I'm going to deal with it. And then it's almost like that ex-girlfriend you say you're over, and then you're at a party and she shows up with this person. You're like, oh, I'm not over this. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm seeing the pictures of Waugh on the bench at the Islanders game, and it just breaks my heart. And the Avs don't play the Islanders the rest of the year, so we won't.
No, they're already
him.
done. They're already done. Yeah, they're already done playing them. Yep.
But like, if I'm taking my burgundy and blue off, it's a home run for the Islanders. Yeah. My word, that's the exact person you need to get that team fired up, cleaned up. Like, it's a no-brainer. But my word, why? Why, Patrick? Why?
Did you want him to like come back to the Avs in some capacity?
No.
Okay.
If it's not us, leave. Just don't come.
You just don't want him to coach anywhere.
No, it's
like if we can't have him, nobody.
Like go be up in the box in Montreal. That's fine. I could be perfectly fine if he was taking St. Louis' job in Montreal. Like, but
yeah, but he's doing a pretty good job there. I don't think his job's in jeopardy right now.
But
where I thought he was going to go was Ottawa. I really thought he was going to go to Ottawa. That would have been a perfect scenario for him. Perfect situation. He'll build that team up. But for some reason they didn't want to bring him in. I don't know.
I wonder what Barley was thinking when he got that notification.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing, because I know there's some Avalanche fans who still, hold grudges on how he left. And for those that aren't familiar, you are, and the only grudge that I hold about it is the timing of it.
Yep.
It happened like a month before the season was going to start. And then what happened? They went and got Jared Bednar, but that first year was horrible.
It was.
That was one of the worst seasons in the history of the league. And I put a lot of that blame on Patrick Waugh for doing that. Yeah. I'm not upset about the reasons why he left. He just wanted more of a say in roster, who they wanted to sign, draft, all that stuff. And Joe Sakic was not willing to give that part of his job up. And I don't blame either side here. Some coaches want that. Some coaches want more of a say and more control. And if they're a part of a team that wants to give it to them, then good for them. And Patrick Waugh was part of a team that did not want to give it to him, so he decided to leave. I got no problem with either side. It's just the timing of it. But there is a bunch of Avalanche fans who, like the Matt Duchene thing, will not forgive him for that, and that is their prerogative. That's completely fine. Again, me with the Matt Duchene stuff, enough time has passed. They won a cup. I'm beyond it. Same thing goes for Patrick Waugh. And he's a legendary player. He's a legendary player for the Colorado Avalanche. So yeah, and you know what? I think it helps that they're on the East Coast. We're, like you said, we're not playing them anymore, so we don't see them a ton. Am I like now a Islanders fan? Well, no, because my East Coast team is the Rangers, so I can't be. But I will, I'll check his first game was right before we went live. He's already paying dividends to the Colorado Avalanche because they beat the Dallas Stars in overtime, which is hilarious because that's Matt Duchene as well, who he was not happy with when he scored his 30th goal that one year. So I mean, everything comes, karma is a wonderful thing. But I thought it was being held against him for way too long for the reason why he left the Avalanche, when you see other coaches doing far worse that keep getting rehired. I thought it's kind of a joke that he could not find a job. So I'm happy for him. And I think the Islanders got a really good coach.
Well, being an Avalanche fan during that time, like if he left at the time he did, you felt like if Waugh's giving up on this team, what if Waugh is giving up on the Avalanche? Why am I here as an Avalanche fan? And that was a terrible year. Like the meme was
Horrible.
going around of the Avalanche logo as the poop emoji. It was just dark times.
Yeah.
And of course, the beautiful stories since, but it was rough. And
Yeah.
we'll see how this goes. Yes, he's a good coach, but again, you wonder how it's going to work because Waugh is not a rah-rah coach. He's going to give it to you his way. Yeah. And so we'll see how it goes on Long Island.
Yeah.
But
and that's the other part of it is like he left the Avalanche for, wanting more control, and he's going to a team where Lou Lamoriello doesn't let he is 100% in charge.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how those two egos clash. Very, very interesting. So we shall see. We shall see. But I think it's good that he's back in the league. One of the best goaltender in league history not being involved with the NHL just didn't seem right. So good for him. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
All right, last thing we're going to get to, and that is our sound check. And Kyle and I pick a song that most describes the most recent game and put them up on a playlist over on Spotify. And you can go follow this playlist. Just open up the app, search for LOA Soundcheck Volume 3. And what do you got for this one, sir? Flyers and Avs.
What'd you say? What volume is this?
Volume number 3.
Well, that's funny. You mentioned that. That's has something to do with our song title. It would be 3 is a magic number from none other than the Haley's Comment of a Band, Blind Melon.
And it's kids. It's
from Schoolhouse Rock.
But the Blind Melon version is
yes.
There's a lot of covers of this song, but the Blind Melon. I mean, how can you not go with Blind Melon version? It's fantastic.
Yeah, I remember it from Schoolhouse Rock. I think that's where it originated, and I think it spawned off all of its. But no, that is a wonderful cover, incredible vibe. 3 is a magic number for LOC.
There you go. And it's funny how I'm going off a numbers thing as well, because that line it now has an official nickname. I think thanks to Connor McGahey for Logan O'Connor, who's 25. Excuse me. Miles Wood, who's 28, and Ross Colton, who's 20. And he gave them the nickname of the Roaring 20s line. And there is a song called Roaring 20s by Panic at the Disco. So that is the song that I put on there. So it's a numbers game that we're playing with this for our sound check today, but it's so fitting. 3 for the 3 goals and Roaring 20s for the Roaring 20 line. I absolutely love that name. That is a home run of a name, and I think that's going to stick. And I think other people are going to be mad that they don't have it. That line is producing right now. They are fun to watch. That is a fun line right now.
It is the HBK line of the 2020s.
Ooh, wow! There you go. I love it. All right, that will wrap it up for today, folks. So thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, like we said, and definitely sign up for our subtext, because we're going to be getting some input from those people for tomorrow's episode. It's going to wrap it up. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. It's the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.